Welcome to today's webinar, Church Windows webinar. My name is Joshua and I will be your presenter today. It's promptly 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time here, so we're going to get started here in just a minute. We're here to talk about donations and accounting, NSF donations check. Okay, a member or visitor to the church presents us with a check that we deposit, and it's later determined that that check is insufficient. So we're going to talk through how that's dealt with and handled in Church Windows in both donations and accounting. Before we get started on the topic, a few things. Hopefully the audio is coming through loud and clear. We are recording today's webinar. The video of today's event will be out on our support center page here sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours. Certainly pretty soon. We're getting pretty good at getting those out there pretty quickly. You can revisit this, pass it on to somebody else to visit there, visit the video, whatever you wish to do. We have a handout attached to today's webinar event today. That's what I'm using as the basis for the written material for today's event. If you click the little triangle next to the handouts, you'll see the donations handling NSF donations check PDF file. You can print that or download that from there, or you can go right to our support center page, find the existing, type in NSF under the support center under the keyword search and click that and you'll find that there. Okay, either way. It is not a workbook topic. It is simply a document, okay? It will not be found in any one of our donations workbooks. If you have questions, please type those into the questions portion of the webinar control panel. I will do my best to keep an eye on that and try to get to those during the event. I'll repeat the question for everyone's benefit and we'll see what we can do to get that answered. If your question is about your data specifically, I may need to have you call us on our support. So frequently those types of things that are unique to a person or a church's database do require some more specialized or unique attention. And it's not because I don't want to answer the question, I simply can't without further information, okay? We will promptly wrap things up no later than 11:50, maybe sooner. The topic isn't terribly complex or complicated, but if it does happen to go to 11:50 completely, we'll go ahead and end it there. Okay, so we are notified by our bank at some point that one of our checks in one of our donation deposits was returned as insufficient, and so that's what we need to now deal with in Church Windows. Okay, so it fundamentally starts by going into donations. We're going to go into the donations module. We have to find the giver whose check was insufficient or returned as NSF, okay? So we do that by going to, let's see, right here, Browse Donations in the middle, okay? Or we can go up to Donations in the top left here and across the top center to Browse right here, or top left to Browse right here. Either way, it opens the same window in either case. One just takes 2 mouse clicks, the other one is 3. Okay, I'm sorry, 2. Donations and then Browse. So if we go to Browse Donations in the middle, it opens up our Browse Donations. Okay, so now this was a check in 2019, so we're now going to type in the name of the person, start typing it, and we're going to choose the name, in this case Jen Arnold. Here's check was insufficient, so we choose her name. Then all of her giving detail appears down here at the bottom half of the window for the current year. So we're going to, just for the purposes of our webinar event today, we're going to assume, we're in January still, but her check on January 13th for the organ fund for $400 was returned as NSF, okay? So we highlight the entry in question. We now click the reverse and NSF button right here, right between correct and print donations, okay? So when we now click on that, we've highlighted the specific transaction number that we're reversing. We click on that button, it pops up and asks us, do we want to reverse it as of the original date Folks, 99.9% of the time we're going to choose that. You can go to advanced options and make some other choices, but we're not going to. I would definitely not recommend that, okay? So we can then now go down to, we're going to leave it as the default. We're now going to go down to the donation comments. We're going to, type in something like, check, having problems typing today, returned NSF, okay? While we're here, we're also going to check the box right down here at the bottom left that says reversed due to non-sufficient funds, okay? Now, it's important to understand that that is for internal purposes only. The giver will not see that, okay? They won't see the comments either, all right? So just an important that you understand that none of this the giver sees. Okay, so just, they're not going to be embarrassed or anything by seeing this information on anything to do with their statement at all, okay? So we're going to check the reverse due to non-sufficient funds status, and then we're going to click OK and transfer, okay? So it says permanently reverse donation transaction, 2224, yes. It says donations 220 has been reversed by 2262. We click OK. It now opens up our transfer donations to accounting screen. Well, I'm a little unsure as to why these are in here, but that's okay. We're really concerned with the line here for the negative 400. Okay, so this is a really important distinction. Right here's our January 13th correction. It shows our amount of our negative $400. All right. But we're not transferring this into accounting. Okay. The reason is because if we transfer this in as negative 400, it's going to show as a minus $400 on our deposits tab of our bank reconciliation for January 13th, okay? As far as the bank is concerned, it is not a deposit correction, okay? It is a withdrawal, okay? The original, at the time the deposit is made at the bank doesn't even know that the check is insufficient, okay? So 99% of the time, the original deposit is left as it is, and then several days later, the insufficient amount of the check is withdrawn as a withdrawal. Okay, so that's why we're not transferring this. So how we deal with that is we simply go here to the right-hand side, and we see this box column called Do Not Transfer. Okay, so we're simply going to put a check mark in the box Do Not Transfer. Okay, and then we don't need to refresh the screen. It'll just save it automatically. Okay, so we're going to close out. It's now taken away that January 13th transaction from Jen's record. When she presents us with a new check, we could record that then. Okay, but in this case, this is now gone. So now our work in donations is done. We've taken it off of her giver record. That item is no longer going to appear on her statement. Okay. Now, the second portion of this is to now go over to accounting and post our adjustment there. Oh, but there's some important information that I completely forgot I needed to get. So we're going to go back to transfer to accounting. We're going to check show do not transfer items. There's our January 13th total. So right here, we've got the negative that we need to know what accounts we're fixing in accounting. So it was deposited to our Huntington Bank checking, and then it was also credited originally to 440-110 or the John Joseph Memorial Fund income. Okay, that's an important distinction. Okay, so we're good with that. We've now found out what accounts we need to actually post our adjustments to in accounting. So now we're going to go into accounting, and we're going to go up to, this is part 2 of this now on page 2, we're going to go up to transactions in the top left, across the top center to other, right here. Get my arrow drawn there. And when we click the down arrow, we're going to choose adjust asset. You could also do a journal entry. The choice is yours. But notice it says under, and adjust asset, deposit correction, NSFs, check stock valuations, etc. But this is a journal entry. So when we click on that, it then now opens up our adjust asset screen, and it prompts us now to enter the asset to adjust. So we're going to choose our Huntington Bank checking. We're going to decrease it. Okay. Now, if we really wanted to, many times, it all depends on the bank, of course. We're going to decrease it. We're definitely going to do the 400 for the amount of the NSF check, but I do also like to point out that we can do, say, a bank fee. So if the church was assessed a fee for the NSF check, we could put in, say, 420. We're going to backdate this to January 17th. So it was 4 days after the original deposit that we were notified that, by the bank that the check was deducted. So here we can put in, NSF check adjustment, for Jen Arnold. Again, they won't see any of this. This is in accounting. And then down here under our accounts, we can now type in our John Joseph Memorial Fund income for 4110. Put in $400 there. Click the plus sign. I could now go in and choose a bank fees expense, and I could charge my $20 NSF fee to that. Okay. I could type in comments plus $20 bank fee for NSF check. Okay. And now post. Now I could do this together or separately. It all depends on what my bank statement shows. In this case, we're going to assume that my bank showed a withdrawal for $420. One for the original amount of the check plus the $20 NSF check fee. Okay. So now I can then post that. So what I'm doing here now is I'm reducing the John Joseph Memorial Fund income by the $400 because I don't have that money, as well as reflecting a bank fee of $20, that the church has been assessed. Okay. Now I post. It asks me, do I want to print? So now, if I go to my, bank reconciliation, say for January, I don't think I have anything in here for that, folks. Sorry. Yeah, I don't have one in there for January. It's quick and easy enough to build here. What I'm here to show you is that the deposit on January 13th is left as it is. Notice there's no negative amount here. And then, so I would clear that because, again, that still is reflected on my bank statement. And here, under my withdrawals, I should see our $420, there it is right here, $420 journal entry for NSF check adjustment for Jen Arnold. Okay, right here, this line right there. Okay, so those should reconcile perfectly because they should match up with my bank statement exactly. Okay, so that, folks, in a nutshell, is in 15 minutes or 13 minutes, 12 minutes, is how to deal with an NSF contribution donation check, giver check from donation, church windows donations. Okay. Again, the key is treating donations and accounting as separate issues. They are, because again, we have a different need in accounting than we do in our donations. Okay, so we need to get rid of that transaction or remove that transaction from the giver's record since we don't have the money, and they shouldn't be receiving credit for it on their statement. So that's step one. Check the do not transfer for that NSF check amount, and then we go into accounting and record our journal entry as a debit to income or whatever the credit account was, and a credit to cash to get that money out of our books on the date as a withdrawal, on the date that it appears on our statement. Okay? All right, so that is our topic for the day.